Hello students. Let's see maximum mode configuration. We know that 8086 processor can be operated in two modes, that is minimum mode and maximum mode. So when it is a single processor, then it is operated in minimum mode, and in multi-processor system, like along with 8086 processor, like in a system you want a math co-processor also, then you need to operate this 8086 processor in maximum mode. So to operate this in maximum mode, you need to connect this particular pin 33, which is minimum or maximum bar. This is to be grounded so that it operates in maximum mode. So when 8086 processor is operated in maximum mode, then we know the pins 24 to 31. So these pins are will have a different specification. Like in case of minimum mode, 24 pin is for interrupt acknowledgement and 25th pin is for address latch enable. 26 is for data enable bar. So in case of maximum mode, these will have a different specification. Like these pins 24 and 25, they are for status, queue status. That is instruction queue. They will tell the instruction queue status. And 26, 27, 28 represents or gives the status pins. We'll see what is the status of these signals S0, S1 and S2 bar. Okay, and 29th pin is for lock bar, and 20, 30 and 31 is for request and grant, request or grant. Okay, so this is the block diagram of 8086 in maximum mode. So here you can see that this is same. You have latches and transceivers here also, as in the case of a minimum mode. So this latches is for address and data demultiplexing. So you will get, after this latches, you will get the address bus, and after this transceivers we get the data bus. Okay, so this connection is almost same, only enable signals from where they come, it will be different. Let us see. So here these status signals S0, S1, S2 bar are given as input to a 8288 bus controller, because some signals are missing in maximum mode configuration. ALE is not there in case of maximum mode. Here, because ALE 25th pin in minimum mode, now it is QS not. That means here you don't have a ALE, from where these control signals are generated by a different chip, that is 8288 bus controller. Okay, so this is the device which generates these control signals in case of maximum mode. So status pins S0, S1, S1, S2, these three status pins are given as input to 8288 bus controller, and this bus controller will decode these three signals, status signals, and generate the required control signals. Okay, so here you can see what is the control signals generated. So this is how it generates the control signals. So when status signals are 000, it means it is an interrupt acknowledge machine cycle. So it will generate a control signal interrupt acknowledgement bar. Earlier, in case of minimum mode, interrupt acknowledgement bar is generated by the processor. But in case of maximum mode, 8288 bus controller will generate these signals by decoding the status signals. Okay, so when status signals are 001, when this will be 001, when it is an IO read machine cycle. So for IO read machine cycle, this is the status, and when it is decoded, it will generate the control signal IO read cycle. In the same way, 010 is for IO write. 011 is for halt. Okay, so when it is halt, processor will do nothing, so none of the control signals is generated. So it is a instruction fetch. Instruction fetch means instruction fetching is nothing but a code byte opcode fetch from the memory. So it is a memory read cycle. 101 is for memory read. It is a operand read from the memory. So memory read cycle. Control signal is generated. For write it is 110, it is memory write. And 111 it is inactive. This is not used. Okay, so these are the control signals generated by 8288 bus controller by decoding the status signals generated by the processor. Okay, so depending on the instruction executed, so if it is a memory read instruction executed, then it will be memory reads. The processor will generate the status signals as 101. When it is decoded, it understands 8288 will generate the control signal memory read cycle. Okay, so this is how the control signals are generated by 8288 bus controller in case of maximum mode operation. Okay, also along with these, so here you can see you have memory read cycle, memory write, advanced memory write, IO read, IO write, and advanced IO write. So this is a one T clock pulse. Earlier the machine cycle starts in some cases, like when it waits for the IO device or memory device. Okay, this is for compatibility. Okay, then interrupt acknowledgement. Also data enable ALE. ALE is generated by 8288 here. So this ALE is connected to enable the latches. Okay. In the same way, data enable and data transmit or receive bar. These are also generated by 8288. These are connected to transceivers for enabling the transceiver for transmit or receive. Okay. So this is the connections when it is operated in maximum mode. Some more signals we need to explain here, like request and grant. So what are these request and grant? In minimum mode we have seen hold and hold acknowledgement. Okay, so these are for the request. Hold is for bus request by the DMA controller. So DMA controller, when it needs the control of the system bus, when it needs the system bus for direct memory access, it sends for the bus request on hold pin, and it processor will send the grant the bus by sending an acknowledgement signal on hold acknowledgement signal. Okay, the same purpose is done by this request or grant, but in this case here it is not the DMA controller which requests for the bus, but it is the coprocessor which requests the bus. So I said 8086 in maximum mode, it is multiprocessor configuration. Okay, so the compatible processors, any processor you cannot connect it to 8086 along with 8086. Here the compatible processors with 8086 processor are the coprocessor, math coprocessor 8087, which can perform the floating point arithmetic also. Okay, and one more processor which is compatible with this is 8089 IO processor, input output processor. Okay, so here 8087 and 8086 are connected in this way. Here I have not shown the connections for address data bus and all, because the same system bus is shared by both the processor 8086 and 8087. The same system bus and also the memory and IO, all the resources are shared by both the processors. And these are the signals which are connected between 8086 and 8087 for the communication, proper communication between these two processors. Okay, so request grant pin of 8086 is connected to request grant pin of 8087. Let us suppose the system bus is under the control of 8086 processor. That means this is the bus master. Okay, so if 8087 processor requires the system bus, then it sends a request for the system bus on this particular pin. Okay, when processor is ready to give the system bus to the coprocessor, then it sends a grant signal to the processor. Here, in case of hold and hold acknowledgement, two pins are there for request and grant. But in this case, here on the same line, same pin, both the signals are generated by time multiplexing. Like for request is first sent on the pin, and grant is also sent on the same pin in the other direction. Request is, if request is input, grant will be output. Okay, so when the process 8087 is the master of the system bus, then 86 can send a request for the system bus to the coprocessor. So it will send a request signal to the coprocessor. When this is ready to give back the system bus to the processor, it will send a grant signal. Okay, so if suppose 8089 IO processor is also present here, then the request grant of this, another request grant is required. This can be connected to request grant pin of 8089. So if there is request for the system bus on two pins at the same time, then request grant not 0. This is given the higher priority. Understood? So request grant is for the request for the system bus and grant of the system bus to the other processor. Then we have queue status. So QS0 and QS1 gives the queue status of 8086 processor, which is connected as given as input to 8087 for this to inspect or find out what is the status of the 8086 instruction queue. So here you can see if these two bits are 0 0, it means no operation, queue is idle. 0 1 indicates that first byte of an opcode is present in the queue. 1 0 indicates queue is empty. 1 1 indicates that subsequent byte of an opcode, that means the next bytes of opcode is present in the queue. Okay, so this is the purpose of this QS0 and QS1. They give the status, queue status of the processor, which can be inspected or interrogated by 8087 when required. Then test bar. Test bar is like busy pin of 8087 processor. Coprocessor is connected as given as input to test bar of 8086 processor. Okay, this is an input to the processor. Okay, so this is when this works with wait instruction. You have an instruction wait in 8086 processor. When this await instruction is executed, the processor will check this particular pin, inspect this particular pin. So it will be continuously checking what is the status of test bar pin. If it is high, then it continues to wait. If this pin becomes low, then it will come out of the wait state. Okay, when wait instruction is executed, the processor will continuously check the status of this particular pin, test bar. If this is high, then it will be continuously waiting till this particular bit, this particular pin becomes low. When this will be low, when busy pin of 8087 processor is low. So when it is high, it indicates that it is busy. When it completes the execution of the instruction, then it will put the low signal on this particular pin. Okay, so how it is used, like when it is used, let me explain you. Here see, like when you have both the processors in the system, when you write the program, you write the instructions of both the processors. Let us suppose these are the instructions of 8086 processor, and you want to use, you are writing a processor 8087 mathematical instruction here, including in the program. So along with this, you will precede this particular instruction with wait. Okay, so when this particular instruction is decoded by 8086 processor, it gives this instruction to 8087. So 8087 coprocessor will start executing this particular instruction. Okay, when this is executing this instruction, processor should not go to execute the next instruction. Both the processors can work together. If it, let us suppose the result of this particular instruction is required in the next instruction, then it has to wait for that. Then you will precede the instruction with wait instruction. So processor has to wait until coprocessor finishes this execution of this particular instruction. So that is where this wait instruction is used. So when this instruction is executed, 8087 is executing instruction, indicates that by busy pin, saying that it is under execution. So this pin will be high. When it is busy, this pin is high. Okay, and processor will be waiting for the finish of this instruction execution. So it will be checking whether the test bar pin is high or low. High indicates that it is under execution. So once this instruction execution is finished, this particular pin will be low. It will be sent as low by 8087 processor. So when this is low, the processor understands, 8086 processor understands that the instruction execution is over. Now it has the result with it. So it goes to execute the next instruction. So this is the purpose of test bar pin, which is connected to busy pin of coprocessor. Okay, so you can have like a number of such coprocessor instructions in the program. Each time coprocessor instruction is executed, the processor, you can precede it with wait instruction, so that processor waits until coprocessor finishes the execution of that instruction. Okay, so this is test bar. Then we have lock bar. So this lock bar is like when suppose the processor is executing one instruction, until the processor completes that particular execution, you don't want the processor to give the system bus to coprocessor or another processor. Then you can lock the system bus. So that is done with the help of lock instruction. Let us suppose you are writing an instruction, repeat move string byte. You know what is repeat move string byte. Let us suppose a block of data is to be transferred from one location to another location. Okay, it will take some time. You don't want the processor to give the bus to another processor until it completes this block transfer. Then you can precede this particular instruction with lock. When lock instruction is executed, this particular pin will be low. The signal on this particular pin will be low. As far as this lock bar pin is low, the processor will not accept any request for the system bus. That means when this particular pin is low, even if other processor, coprocessor or IO processor wants to send a request for the system bus, this processor will not give the system bus to any other processor till it finishes this particular instruction execution. Once this is finished, then this signal will go high. This particular signal will go high. Then the processor can accept the request for the system bus. Okay, so this is about lock bar. I think we have already discussed all the pins of maximum mode configuration.